Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Another episode of Banish the Doubt. Today, I want to talk about letting go, letting go, and allowing things to happen naturally. Now, that goes against a lot of what our conditioning has been growing up. I know as a child, I would watch my father sitting at the kitchen table and he'd have a yellow legal pad and just scratching numbers and figuring out and I guess bills. I don't know what it was, but he was just so focused on analyzing. And that's what a lot of us have been, brought up to believe. We just analyze the shit out of everything. A lot of us tend to overthink things. Now you just saw me look down here because my dog Archie is down here. And if you really want to see what it's like to just be in the moment, not a care in the world, just living in the moment. If you have a dog or a cat or an animal, they will show you what it's like to just be in the moment. See, we have a frontal lobe, but we have a consciousness, which is great, and is also, a lot of times a big hindrance. But we've been conditioned this way, you and I. You know, some of you recognize what I'm about to say. As far as when we were growing up, there was three news channels. There was ABC, CBS, and NBC. The news was on at 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. That was it. Okay. Now, some of you who are younger don't remember any of that. I remember when suddenly Fox News, Channel 5, or it was Channel 5 Fox, was a new thing. And here in the New York area, Channel 11, PIX, and then Channel 9. Didn't think much of it, but that was it. That was the news. And, your parents watched it. As you get a little older, maybe you watched it. But then everything started to evolve. And what's the slogan for the news? If it bleeds, it what? It leads. So the more salacious the news, the more they want you and I to see it. Well, it's my contention that the more we see these things, the more we can start to develop this analytical mind and analyze that things are horrible. The world is falling apart. It's horrible. The more control they have over you, because the more fearful you are, the more you're seeing things happening, and our rational mind, our physical mind is focused on that. You can watch on YouTube, like I'm making a video now, which is fantastic. We have this at our disposal to look at these types of videos, or we can go back and watch videos from, shows or whatever from the 70s and the 80s. And what were they talking about back then, even the 90s? Oh, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. So nothing's really changed much. But now, now we have these, okay, these devices, the cell phones. You could literally take these in your car and turn your car into a university on wheels. You can watch videos like mine and others like this, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Tom Karen. I mean, I can go on and on with different people you could watch and listen and learn. And, a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, been around for thousands, not hundreds, thousands of years, and wonder why you and I never heard about this stuff. Because they can't have us believing any of this. They can't have us thinking, well, wait a minute, if I just become centered and learn to live in the moment, live in the now, what do we need them for? Right? If in mass people started tuning off the news, and I mean even in this, just going to things such as YouTube and reading listen to audiobooks and getting into what I'm about to talk to you about, learn about this en masse. suddenly we will shake up the world, because suddenly those who control the world will no longer have control over us. And that's what my passion is, not to change the world, but just have one person, you watching this, just have one person say, yeah, you know what, that's right, I'm tired of this, and I'm going to start paying attention to this stuff, and I'm going to start tuning out politicians and the news and what have you. Anything out there, ladies and gentlemen, anything that goes counter to what this talks about, what I'm about to talk to you about now, what for thousands of years the ancients have been talking about, the pineal gland. Jesus talked about it in the Bible, in the there's one other book, one other book, but something from the ancients, the Hua Hu Ching, and the Tao Te Ching, and the and others, Egyptian something or other. They talked about this. They talked about I am and the me, and not the me as an ego me, but me as far as getting into learning about yourself, going inward. This stuff's been around for thousands of years. So let me start to transition now into what I want to talk about today. So letting go of the how and allow. That's kind of the topic for today, okay? Letting go of the normal evolution of things, normal in air quotes, the rational mind's way of doing things, the way we've been conditioned to believe how things should happen, okay? And allow things, what you want to happen, to evolve naturally. Can your rational mind, okay, actually imagine anything happening out of the blue? Now, could your rational mind, could it rationalize that if you're going through a situation right now, let's say, I don't know, you need money, you're having a difficult time making the rent payment or the mortgage payment, could your rational mind believe that it's possible that suddenly money will just show up in your mailbox today, enough to pay all your bills? Your rational mind will say, of course not. That's not a normal way, right? That's not allowing things to evolve naturally. But that's the way and if we believe that, then that's what's going to happen. But if we can become centered and become living in the now, living right here in this moment, and we start to become now conscious, absolutely can happen. But we question it. So, out of the blue, without it having to happen normally, without the normal way for money to show up, right? Well, go out and work. Okay. I'm not saying you could just sit there and say, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm just going to sit at home and money's just going to appear. It's possible, but I'm talking about this, having this mindset, and I'll talk about this in a second, how this sort of evolves naturally. Our rational or physical mind needs to know how the heck it is going to happen. So what I was just talking about, right? How is this going to happen? I need to know. My father scratching down all those different figures on a yellow legal pad, right? Paying attention to the news, what's happening. I mean, seriously, I live in New Jersey, and do I really need to know that some teacher in, I don't know, Fargo, North Dakota, or wherever Fargo is, had sex with some 16-year-old kid? I need to know that? No, but it's on the news. It's in the front page of the newspaper here in New York. You see what I'm saying? Or something else happens somewhere else in the world that we need to know about this. Well, the rational mind needs to know about it. Okay, we need to know how the heck this is going to how is it going to work out. Okay, so attaching to anything creates resistance. So what that means is when we attach ourselves to the outcome, how is this going to happen? How am I going to do this? How am I going to figure this thing out? We are actually unconsciously, and that's the key word, unconscious, creating resistance. Versus saying, everything has always worked out in my life and everything always will work out in my life for me. The universe conspires to make everything work out in my favor. To live in the now and saying that. The hormones, however, the hormones of stress are highly addictive, and they downregulate genes to create disease. So this is very key. The hormones of stress, very addictive. That's key. It's when we're trying to control things, and that's what we do. That's what most of the life, right? So people are trying to control us. So we try to control things because that's how we were learned. That's how we learned how to live our life, how to control things. Well, we have to learn to let go, okay? Because those stress hormones are highly addictive. Now, we've been led to believe that addiction is what? Alcohol, drugs, maybe sex, gambling. It's really stress. Okay. It really comes down to the stress hormones. Those are that's what becomes addictive. We become addicted to the life we don't even like. Now, that obviously is true. Addicts, such as alcohol, drugs, they don't like that life, but they're addicted to that. That the body needs to have that. But a lot of us, we end up seeing ourselves in a life, we're like, I don't even like this. I don't know why, because we're addicted to the stress, because the uncomfortable becomes comfortable. You know, I'm not sure if you know this, but some of the loneliest people in the world are married people. We never learned that. Some of the loneliest people in the world. You know, something else I found out a couple of weeks ago. I was walking my dog, and I was walking past a neighbor's house, and he's a principal of the school up the street from my house. And we got to talking, and I said, "Hey, so, how are things going?" And he goes, "No, this is the principal." He goes, George, he goes, "Oof, March is a long month. Oof, it's a long month." Now, I never knew that principals and teachers, they circle Fridays more so than the kids. They can't wait for 3 o'clock to happen more so than the kids. They can't wait until whatever the last day of school is in June to happen more than the kids. But this is a career. They're supposed to be, you were led to believe, right? That, well, this is them. They love this. No, principal. Oh God, it's killing me. So we become addicted to the life we don't even like. We draw energy from the invisible field. So positive or negative, we're drawing energy from this field. So the more energy we draw, the more we are addicted to stress, the more of those energies we are drawing into our body. And it's having this effect on our life, right? So we end up midlife or early, maybe earlier than that, and suddenly we get the diagnosis, or we have a heart problem, we have a nervous breakdown, whatever it may be, because the body can't handle that amount of stress repetitively over and over again. So these hormones of stress keep us focused on what? The outer world. The hormones of stress that we become addicted to keep us addicted to the outer world. It's not a time to sit then. It's not a time to go inside or be vulnerable. It's a time to run, to hide, or to fight, just like the animals. Okay, so this is the fight or flight. This is when we become hypersensitive to the outside. We start to worry about out there. They have to change out there in order for me to feel better. You've heard me say this in several videos now. This is because we become addicted to the stress hormones. So people spend the majority of their life living by these hormones. Okay? So so the stress hormones cause you and I to become materialists. So we start to then look outside for things to help us to feel better, right? When I get the relationship, I'll feel better. When I get the car, I'll feel better. When I get that job, that promotion, then I'll feel better. When I get whatever it may be, okay? So then when we're materialists, though, we try to force outcomes, right? We got to close that person. If you're in sales, you got to close them. You got to figure out a way to close them, force the outcome. You got to control the outcome, right? We got to predict the outcome, right? So my father writing down all that stuff on the legal pad. You got to predict the outcome, figure out how this is going to work out, okay? And we got to fight for the outcomes. We get out there. We got to grind, right? We got to be in the game. We've got to well, that's what a lot of what they say. Like we grind things out. All resistance, all just that resistance, almost like taking a pencil and just scratching and scratching and scratching and scratching it. Eventually, the lead is going to run out of that pencil because we are matter trying to change matter. So when we're doing this, we are matter. Okay, that's when we focus ourselves like that, and we have to change outside in order for us to feel better. We then learn to run from the unknown because we can't predict it. So the unknown, what we really should be doing, that little voice inside of us that we don't have time to go sit inside. We don't have time, to go inside. We don't have time to sit and meditate. No, why? Because you can't predict that. We're not in control. Okay, get the safe, secure job, J-O-B. I call it just over broke. That's how I know for myself and a lot of us, right? That's how we were led to believe, or we were conditioned to believe. Oh, just go get that good, safe, secure job. Let them take care of you, control you, and you'll be fine. Look at your brother ended up that way. You're the neighbor next door, your uncle, your cousin, whatever it may be. Look what the way they're living. I have a brother-in-law who had that very safe, secure job, lived in an upper middle class area here. And we all looked like, ooh, this beautiful house. He had all that. He also got sick. We found out later on he would get physically sick before going to work. It was having an effect on his health. But he had a job and he had a mortgage and he had to pay this stuff. So he had to force himself, right? He had to force and control the outcome. He had to force the outcome because he was living that way. Each person, place, object, thing has a neurological place in our brain because we've experienced it already. So everything that ever happened to us in our life, I can still see things from back when I played youth football. I can recall right now as I'm talking here in this video. These have an effect neurologically on our bodies. Okay, when we narrow our focus, we zoom in on a particle in the quantum physics, eliminating the wave of possibility. So again, we're trying to control something. We're focusing on that. We're focusing on matter trying to change matter, and we don't realize this field of this wave of possibility that's out there because we don't know how else to do this. This is how we've been conditioned. That's the key thing. Everything that happens in our life is a way of trying to condition and control us. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So energy flows to where attention goes. I'll say it again. Our energy flows to where our attention goes. So it's a paradox. We're focusing our energy on something that we don't even like, right? Like I said a few minutes ago, we're living a life we don't even like, but what do we do? We focus our energy on that and our attention on that. So our energy goes there and we're eliminating the possibility for it from going somewhere else. When you place your attention on matter, you eliminate energy and you feel separate from the field. You'll live in lack. So when you do this, you're feeling like things just aren't working out, or this is all there is. I don't like my life, or something's missing. Okay, you'll say, I need that thing. You're going to need that thing out there in order to make you in here feel better. So we get the girl or the guy, the relationship, right? We get the car, the motorcycle, whatever it may be. We get the clothes, whatever that's going to make me feel better about how I see myself in the mirror. So when I get that article of clothing, that relationship, that vehicle, that car, then I'm going to feel better about myself. Okay. So as that happens, though, this is what ends up taking place to the majority of people. So now the average buyer, okay, the average buyer of a home today, the average person looking to buy a home today, they exhaust all of their life savings, even getting a gift to help with the costs. So today it's been around for many years though, the mortgage industry, which that's another form of control, has FHA, Federal Housing Administration, will allow people to get a gift from a family member or I think their employer or whatever to help with the costs. But, but that's the thing. So you don't have the money to buy the house. Dad, don't you worry. You can go talk to Uncle Bob. Yeah, sure, sure. Your brother Paul, sure. Sister Susie, sure. Go right ahead. Go get 20,000. Yeah, we can get. Well, yeah, sure. Go ahead. 20,000, sure. You don't have the money. Don't worry. It's okay. You're gonna get the house. Why? Because for the next 30 or 40 years, we got you. Like my brother-in-law is telling you about. He had the house, nice upscale neighborhood, right? $1 million homes all around, getting sick before he went to work. You see what I'm talking about here? This is where it's all ass backwards, okay? But don't worry, we've been doing this but you don't understand. This is how they did it. They're fine. Yeah, I know they had the little thing about the health, but they got over it. They're fine. When I when I got diagnosed with cancer, I spoke with my brother, and we're on the phone. He said to me, "Hey, George," he said, "yeah, my neighbor had it twice." Like, holy crap, really? He goes, "Yeah, he got twice cancer." That mean now what I'm learning is that means for the bulk of that guy's life, he was operating against himself. He didn't even realize it. I didn't realize it. Now I do, but I didn't then. Okay. So, and when they get that thing, they'll feel the emotion of it. And then when the novelty of that experience wears off, here comes the emptiness again. So, got to have that house, right? Oh, when I get that, my house of my dreams. So we get the house, right? And it's fine for a little while, but you have a job. You have just over broke. You got to work at that job. Maybe you're getting more hours. Maybe the boss is on top. You see what I'm saying? So when we get that stuff, but it's not that. It's not the house. It's not the relationship. It's not the car. Not this, sweatshirt or article of clothing. It's not that. Okay, so now you need one of those things. So you got to go to work, right? You got to drag your body through space. Then you're experiencing time. So you go back and forth to work to make the money to pay for these things, pay for the car, pay for the house, whatever it may be. Okay, the boat if you need. Oh, I'm going to get a boat. I feel much better. My identity. So that's going to fulfill some lack, and it never does. So you find out later on, you later on in life, you 30 years later, you have the house, you have the relationship, you have the car, and what do we find out? That we're too exhausted to do anything. We finally get all that stuff, we pay off the house and everything, and now we're exhausted. And how many people retire? You'll find out within 5 years, 10 years, that's it. They've passed on. However, this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call normal. Read that. It's what we call normal. Do all that. This is the road that society has conditioned us to believe that's the way to go. Everybody else does it. Go with the crowd. You'll be just fine. So if you wake in the morning and you're not being defined by a vision of your future and you're operating in your past, you're going to go see the same people, right? You're going to go to a job, see the same people. They're going to push the same buttons, emotional buttons. You're going to go to the same places, that job or wherever else, okay? You're going to do this. You're going to do the exact same thing, okay? See the same objects in your life. This is what's going to happen. So you're going to do the same things. That's what I was talking about for 30 years, okay? But then, so then it's your environment. It's my environment that is influencing how we think and how we feel, right? Because if that's what's going on, this is what we've been told, then it's our environment that it influences how you and I think and how we feel. So then your personality is no longer creating your personality. Your personal reality is creating your personality. Why is he so upset? I don't know. Let's ask him. I hate my job. I can't stand whatever. Maybe I don't even like my wife, or I don't like my husband. Oh God, this job is killing me. Can't go anywhere because I have a mortgage. Most people, ladies and gentlemen, live their lives in quiet desperation. Think about that. I'll say it again. Most people in society, they live their life in quiet desperation. They'll never tell anybody. My father, suppress, 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 suppress. It came out through his alcohol abuse. My brother, suppress, 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 came out through his alcohol abuse. My other brother, same thing, suppress, came out through alcohol and drug abuse. Okay? You see, I have other friends. Because society says, well, you're 22 years old now, Bob. You should be able to handle a six pack. Why? Well, because that's what everybody else is doing. That's what real men do. Real men can hold their liquor. Go tie one on, and go get smashed. Where is he? Hey, don't worry, he's sleeping it off from the night before. Yeah, he's a real man. He can. Elon Musk. He says, if I'm talking now, this is a little extreme. He said, but if he's talking to somebody and he finds out that the conversations turn really boring, he'll just walk away from that person. Won't even say anything. Just turn and walk. He said, because I don't have time for that. You'll find that, and that's extreme, but you'll find that the richest people in the world, you ask them, hey, do you have 20 minutes? Some of them will sit down and calculate how much they're going to lose, how much money they're going to lose in 20 minutes by talking to you. Again, these are extreme measures, ladies and gentlemen, but you understand that the average person, we just float. We just kind of hang around and float through our life. Just float. That's it. 20 years has gone by. Yeah, I got a job. It's easy. Who wants to be challenged? Who wants the unknown? Who wants to go there? So this is what we do, okay? And as long as we react to our environment, we should create more of the same environment, right? As long as we're reacting to it, then we should create more of it. That's the paradox we're in. We're the hamster in the wheel. We work more hours, right? We work overtime. We get a second job. We get a third job. And we're just, man, the little hamster's going. His little legs are going and going and going, but it's a wheel. It's not going anywhere. It's the same shit. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. And then we wonder why, like I just showed you in the page before this, 30, 40 years later, the house is paid for, the cars are obviously paid for, we got the relationship, and we are exhausted. Of course we are. We just traded away the last 30, 40 years of our life to somebody else. So if how we think and how we feel creates our state of being, and if we keep thinking the same thoughts, okay, because of our environment, then that the same emotions and the same thoughts that the same emotions and the same emotion influence that the same thoughts that produce the same emotions. So the thoughts that are producing the same emotions and the same emotions influences how you're thinking. We are hardwiring our brain and conditioning our body emotionally into the past. Let me say that again because I kind of messed up a little bit there. So if how we think and how we feel creates our state of being, and if we keep thinking the same thoughts that produce the same emotions, okay, because we just established that, and these same emotions influence how we're thinking, then we are hardwiring our brain and conditioning our body emotionally into the past because we're not thinking of the future because we just established when we wake up in the morning without a vision of the future, then we're operating in the past. This is why we gossip. This is why, did you hear what Jenny did? Did you look at Facebook and so-and-so's, wow, did you see what happened there? How about that over there, that person, oh yeah. And we compare. We have to do that because we're operating on the hormones of stress. And stress says, I'm not feeling right. I'm all sort of tied up in knots, what we say, right? My stomach is tied. Maybe my mom hearing this all the time. My stomach is tied in knots. I couldn't sleep last night. And if you're a young child growing up in this environment, right? The environment, how else could it be? You've seen the people before you, your role models, if they're modeling this behavior, then you can't not have other than just this behavior. It can't not be that way. The greatest thing that ever happened to me, ladies and gentlemen, was seeing the word malignant, because it forced me to say, bullshit, I'm going that way now. I'm not going that way anymore, because that way has led to this. I'm going that way. So if you're watching this video, you heard me say this a few times now in these videos. If you're watching me right now, you've attracted me in this video into your life. This is your I'm going that way now moment in your life, because the environment has gotten you this. Okay? So do this enough times, and I have here 35. I'll talk about that in a second. Then the body becomes the mind of that emotion. Now, 35 is a pivotal number because Dr. Joe Dispenza says science says by age 35, we are a memorized set of hardwired reactions, emotional reactions, hardwired behaviors, right? The emotions, behaviors, perceptions, and beliefs. Why? Well, because we just established this is how we live. We're living in the past. But by age 35, we've memorized this. Again, we can't not memorize it because it's around us all the time. We just established that the news, some teacher in Fargo, North Dakota, had slept with some 16-year-old. All right, but I'm learning about this and I'm in New York. Who gives a crap? Right? And the killings that are going on. This other cop got shot and this person got stabbed. And this is the shit that goes on all the time. It's in our face all the time. But we have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. Starting today, this video, we have a choice. We can either watch that, listen to that. Trump said this and Biden said that and Obama did this. We can continue to be consumed by that, controlled by that, or we can say enough is enough and we're going to change. So I'll continue. So if our environment has that much influence over how we think and feel, then to change, right, change would require becoming greater than our environment. You agree? Right? If the environment has that much influence over how we think and feel, and we've established, if we're thinking and feeling this way, we've memorized sets of emotions and hardwired emotional reactions, right? Then in order to change would be to become greater than our environment. A habit, ladies and gentlemen, a habit is a redundant set of unconscious, automatic thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. Age 35, we're a memorized set, okay? A habit is when you've done something so many times, your body knows how to do it better than your mind. So if you have a pair of shoes on right now and they have laces, close your eyes. I'm pretty sure you can go ahead and just tie the shoelaces. You can probably keep watching the video and tie your shoelaces, right? Why? Because you've done it so many times, your body knows how to do it. You don't have to think about where do I put my fingers, one lace over the other, right? When we go to work, somebody can ask us, how'd you get to work, George? Let's see, I went down this street. What's the name of the street? I don't remember. I make a left. Out to what street? Yeah, I don't remember. Why? Because it's a habit. We've done it so many times. Our body right? We're on autopilot. So when we wake up in the morning and our bodies are ironically, on autopilot, right? It's dragging you into a predictable future. So when you wake up in the morning, same side of the bed, same side of the bed as the night before, correct? Go to the bathroom, same bathroom, right? Take a shower, have maybe pretty much the same breakfast, right? Go to work, same job, same way, right? See the same people, right? They're going to push the same emotional buttons. We come home, maybe the kids have baseball practice, soccer practice, right? Have dinner, watch the news, of course, right? Got to catch up on what's going on. Check social media to see if Betty is still dating whoever or Bob is still doing whatever, right? Emails, got to check emails, right? Got to do all this stuff just like the day before. So we're in a predictable future, okay, based on what you did in the past. So you're pretty much unconscious. You're operating. It's almost like there's clones on our head. The society goes, boof, there you go. Just go that way. Everybody else. Why? Just everybody else is going that way. You just go that way. Job, safe, secure, safe, secure. Yep. 30-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage. Yep. Got to pay for kids. Yep. Gotta have kids. I have kids. Yep. Car. Got to have a car. This is what we do. So I assert that when you are not in the present moment, you are operating on a program. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a program. So we operate from right here in this moment. We learn how to become present as much as possible throughout the day, especially when things start to kind of go a little sideways. We learn how to talk to ourselves in the moment. Based on this, we learn how we've been talking to ourselves, and we start to talk to ourselves differently. We start to understand. Once we understand and we catch ourselves, I spoke about this yesterday as a refractory period. It's the difference, or it's a time elapse between when something does happen and it gets us in the old familiar thinking, and we catch ourselves. The amount of time it takes for us to catch ourselves is referred to as a refractory period. The shorter that period, the more our awareness, the more centered we become, the more we have the opportunities for this field of possibilities to start to open up. Like I referenced in the beginning here, if you're going through something, let's say it's finances, you don't focus on the lack, okay? If you're saying you want to be a person who has wealth, you never focus on lack. If you're a person who is looking to get healed, maybe you have cancer right now or some sort of an ailment, you don't focus on the ailment. You don't focus on the cancer. You don't focus on the disease. You focus on being perfect health. You see yourself. You go inside, you close the door, as Jesus said. You go into the closet, you close the door. I mean, you close your eyes, you go inside. And you see yourself perfect health. You see yourself as wealthy. You see the bills are paid, the rent is, whatever it may be. You see that because as you start to condition yourself this way, the world of possibility starts to open up. The subconscious, okay, so when we're talking to ourselves, the subconscious, I'll put it to you this way. Whenever you focus on lack, focus on a situation that took place in your life in the past, your subconscious, biologically, your body can't differentiate. It's objective enough, doesn't understand that you're thinking about this or that is happening again. Your body is operating as if it's happening again. You are thinking about it, but your body is operating chemically as if the situation is happening again. So whenever something ticks you off, and if you find yourself in the car, and I've done this many, many, many times, talking to that some person, that whatever that situation may be, like my father, scratching, trying to figure this out. The body chemically you were just churning up those chemicals over and over again. It's like throwing a rock into a pond and all the sediment, all the dirt underneath at the floor of the pond is coming up, and all the water gets dirty. The water getting dirty is inside of our body. So we look at the clear water. We look nice and clear. We see it, and we focus on that. Everything is perfect in my world. The universe is always conspiring to make sure my life is perfect. Everything works out for me. My mortgage is paid. I'm living in the house. My house is paid for. Whatever it may be, I'm in that relationship. I'm healthy. I'm perfect health. This is how we stay in the present moment, and we no longer operate based on a program that has been downloaded into us from generation to generation, ancestrally, The programs have been downloaded into those who came before us and those who came before them. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to break that chain. You want to decouple from that and learn how to become present in the moment. You start to do this, and I promise you, you start to put this into practice. And just like grass seed outside, you're not going to see grass tomorrow or maybe for the next couple of days. But just like a plant, you put a plant inside in your house or your apartment, wherever it may be, you put it anywhere near a window and you watch. After a while, all the foliage is bent. It will literally, you'll see it bending towards the glass. Why? Because our bodies are like that. We want to go to the sunlight. We want to go that way. It's time to allow your body to do that. If you like what you see today, give me a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you receive all of my videos. You can feel free to go back into my library of videos and pick out any ones that I've spoken about previously. But it is my passion that you watching this, that this video has touched you in a way where you're saying, I understand it now a little bit, and I'm starting to feel it better. And just by watching this, you're starting to heal, because this is how I've done it. Okay. And this is my passion for you and for everybody else who watches these videos. I thank you so much for watching them. Like I always mention, God bless and enjoy the rest of your day. Feel free to comment down below and share these videos with others, because the more people see these videos, the more we're able to heal the world. One person, one video at a time. God bless. Have a great afternoon.